Hello, Booktubia. Jeremy here with MathomBooks. What if your parents had the option to unwind you, which means they could basically send you off and have your body cut up into little pieces and given to other people? Yeah, it's an action-packed, dystopian YA novel. When your kids are having kids, then that's probably around the time this story is set. The pro-life side on the abortion debate and the pro-choice side of the abortion debate went to war, and to kind of settle the war, they came up with what's called the Bill of Life. And what that means is you cannot abort any more children, but instead every family, when their children are between the ages of 13 and 17, that family, the parents, can have that child unwound, which means they're taken away, their bodies cut up into little pieces, and used in other human beings. You know, if someone has a bad heart, they get an unwind's heart. Someone loses an arm in a terrible accident, they can get an unwind arm. One of the first interesting questions that arises is, how is this solving the problem? They're saying, well, we're not killing you, we're just spreading your life around into all these tiny pieces, so to speak. You find a lot of the kids that get unwound are kind of the unwanted kids. They're the kids that the people don't want to deal with. And that's an interesting social commentary, because what do we do in the real world? What do we do with kids that we don't want? The book is broken up into 7 sections. In front of one of the sections, he has a real news story from the BBC, from the British Broadcasting Company, that talks about this Ukrainian hospital that was literally, you can imagine, these really poor families. They'd come in, the women would give birth, and then a day later, a couple hours later, the woman would be like, "Where's my baby?" And they would say, "Sorry, your baby's gone." These babies were literally being harvested for the stem cells, because they wanted to do stem cell research, and they were taking these babies, getting money to kill the baby, take the stem cells, and then they would go and bury these babies in these shallow graves out in the forest, out in the back of this hospital. He makes the point, after telling that story, he says, "This proves that fiction is all too often one rationalization away from reality." You might be saying to yourself, "Jeremy, this story just sounds kind of heavy, doesn't sound very interesting." It's not, trust me. It's just, this is the way my mind works. I focus on these philosophical ideas more than anything else. But it's a very action-packed story. Connor, Risa, and Lev are on the run. They're literally on the run from the police. They're called juvie cops. And these are the ones they're cops that are specially trained to chase down and track down unwinds that are trying to run away. There's this whole underground network trying to protect unwinds, and they get involved in that. It's pretty awesome. Connor likes to punch people a lot. Risa, she's this really sweet girl with a tender heart, but a hard exterior. Lev, he's kind of the leverage in the relationship. Leverage. And then there's a character named Roland. Roland is a very interesting character. Hard, harsh, kind of bad boy background. And you get to see a very interesting cycle with him. The characters are very well developed. They're interesting. We learn about them quite a bit. One of the interesting things about this story is some very kind of sometimes subtle and intriguing occurrences happen. One example of these kind of quirky things that comes out of a story is, it's legal to unwind one of your kids, but it's illegal to drink caffeine or to have nicotine. Also, instead of there being back alley abortions, right, which we've heard about, in this story, there are back alley births. There's this thing called storking, and that is, if you come to your door one morning on your doorstep, you're legally required to keep that baby and to raise it. Another kind of peculiarity that comes out of this is you have this concept that you guys may have heard. It's called NIMBY, N-I-M-B-Y, and it means not in my backyard. And you see this concept applied a lot in this story. It's like this. hey, unwinding's this great thing. We all love it, so to speak, says society, but I don't want it done to me, right? And I think we do this a lot as human beings. We talk in terms of, oh, well, you know, this is a really good thing for people. I just hope it's not for me, right? We want it in somebody else's backyard. We don't want it in our own backyard. If you are the sort of person that you get tired of YA that seems a little bit shallow and it's only kind of one-dimensional, here's a book that really kind of raises the bar a little bit. It's dealing with some real good, powerful social issues as well as telling an intriguing story. One person says, you can't change the laws without first changing human nature. Another person says, you can't change human nature unless you first change the laws. And I say, you can't change human nature. Which person are you? So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. Here's a great quote just to give you a sense of what his writing's like. People aren't all good. People aren't all bad. We move in and out of the darkness and light all of our lives. But right now, I'm pretty pleased to be in the light.